Hello everyone, this is Roya, and today I'm coming to you with the best books that I read in 2025. So these are the books that are most of my 5-star reads. So even though I read 170 books this year, I still had pretty much the same number of 5-star reads, which was about 5 or 6. And so the 5 books that are on this list were the 5 fiction books that I gave 5 stars to. I also had a few other really strong 4-star reads, but I felt like I think I need to pick my reads better because the vast majority of what I read this year was like weak 4 stars or 3 stars, and that bothers me. So making this list was not very difficult. So anyway, I'm just gonna get right into it. So from 5 to 1, the 1 being the best book of the year, I'm just gonna go through each one and tell you a little bit about why I liked it. Coming in at number 5, we have A Resistance of Witches. This is a historical fantasy, and this is a little bit of a shorter book with not quite as much story, which might be why this is a little bit lower on this list. However, I really enjoyed it. I thought that the twists were good, the plot was done really well, and the whole thing, I flew through it. I finished it in I think just one day, and because it was just really gripping from start to finish. Coming in at number 2, we have Divine Rivals. I thought that this was a really, really gripping read as well. Rebecca Ross is a really good author. I feel like no matter what she writes, I end up liking it a lot. Even though everything she writes is completely different from each other. Like no 2 series or standalone books that she's written are anything alike. I mean, they're all fantasy, but they're all very different kinds. Some are more historical, some are more just like really out there. I don't know. This one reads a little bit like it's historical, like as if it's like 100 years ago or something like that, but it's told in a like backdrop of like a war between 2 gods, and our 2 main characters are basically going to the front lines to be reporters on the war. I really thought the love story was done so well. It is the perfect example of an enemies to lovers or rivals to lovers type of thing that is done really well. The setting was great and left no stone unturned. It really was well thought out, and the storytelling was awesome, and I really, really loved reading this book. Coming in at number 3, we have Exquisite Things by Abdi Nazimian, and of course, you know, usually when he comes out with a new book, it ends up on my best list. So this is about 2 young men who become immortal at different times. So like one is from the late 1800s, and then he meets a guy in the 1920s and makes him immortal as well. They kind of have a falling out because he didn't really know that his boyfriend was making him immortal. All of that, and so all this crazy stuff happens, and it is really good. The only thing that I thought could have been better about this book is that the ending, the resolution of how they solve the immortality problem is really convenient. But other than that, this tells a really good story about like found family and acceptance and love and just living the life that you have rather than trying to get bonus life. Rather, like, you can still do, you know, you're gonna be miserable if you try to get more life, basically. And so this was so good, and it's, you know, it's a theme that I think about all the time. In fact, like the first book that I actually wrote to completion and never published was about someone immortal trying to not be immortal anymore. So this subject matter is very something that really gets me interested. And so this was really, really good and done so well. Coming in at number 2, we have To Shape a Dragon's Breath by Monquil Blackgoose. This is basically about an indigenous girl going to a school for dragon riders where she's the only indigenous person. Everyone there is of the colonizers. This very much parallels like what happened with, you know, in the historical time period that it's taking inspiration from, where the like settlers kind of thought certain things and about the indigenous people and treated them in certain ways and all of that. So this book is full of this girl trying to navigate things while being called uncivilized when her society is not uncivilized, just because they don't play by the same exact rules and all of that. Like, they do have a whole civilization, what the heck. And so this was very like real and very it was very clearly like taken, you know, inspired by actual history and actual things that have gone on with people. And I think that that made it just so real and so interesting. And I really loved it. Coming in at number 1, we have another very real book, The Last Tiger. And this was my favorite read of the year. This is a very heavily inspired, by the Japanese occupation of Korea, the Japanese occupation of Korea. And it follows basically a fantasy version of the author's grandparents and how they met and fell in love and all of that stuff, but with some of the elements being fantasy and instead. And so we see, you know, not only is this so gripping from start to finish, it's really the type of book that I look for, where the pacing is just the perfect pacing. There's no lull in the action. There's conflict after conflict where we wonder what the heck is going to happen. And so our 2 main characters come from very different backgrounds. They become friends because one of them has a way to do something that the other one doesn't have. And then they find out that the system is rigged anyway. And then they become basically enemies, but they're not. And this was just such an amazing book, and I will tell all of you to please read it. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Those are the best books that I read in 2025. Let me know if you've read any of these and have any thoughts on them, etc., etc., and I will see you very soon with a new video. Bye!